Hello again. I must confess that I had never heard of a young woman called Willow Smith before this morning when I saw her name and picture on the BBC website. It appears that she is polyamorous. Reading the article below the picture tells me that this means that she likes to have more than one guy on the go at the same time sexually. This kind of thing was pretty popular actually 50 or 60 years ago, and I will not deny that I've engaged in the practice myself, although not for many years and certainly not since I've been married. In those days it was known as promiscuity. It was more popular with men than it was with women at that time, with quite a few men banging more than one girl with whom they were in a supposedly committed relationship. Before going any further, I must make it clear that I'm not pursing my lips disapprovingly or shaking my head while muttering about the disgusting things that young people today get up to. It's nothing to me if a young woman wants to have sex with more than one man, and good luck to her. I'm sure there's just as much promiscuity, or I should perhaps say polyamory, going on as there was when I was a young man. Human nature doesn't change that much over the course of a few brief decades. The only thing which does change is the words that we use to describe basic activities like sex. Because I try to be up to date and with it sometimes, I have in general stopped referring to people as being homosexuals or promiscuous or sex change cases and that sort of thing. I know that language develops and I try to adapt to that. That's why I have taken to using the term LGBTQ+. Alas, that has also been overtaken by history. And no sooner have I started using this particular euphemism than it has itself become old-fashioned. That's what happens when old people try and keep up to date with things. The latest thing to use is apparently lgbtqapd, which sounds like an alphabet song sung by a demented and dyslexic teacher in a kindergarten. It stands for lesbian, gay, transgender, intersex, asexual or ally, questioning or queer, pansexual and demisexual. No, I'm not making any of this up. I give a link to a very correct and right-on website which helpfully explains such esoteric matters to old and sexually repressed fogies like me. I was slightly irritated by the website, nothing to do with sex. This is me being fussy and pedantic. The title of the piece on the website was Acronyms Explained. LGBTIQAPD is not an acronym at all. An acronym is a word formed from the initial letters of other words. For example, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organisation. We don't say NATO, we say NATO. It makes a complete word. UNICEF is another complete word. When you just have a string of letters like PPE for personal protective equipment, that is not an acronym but an initialism. And so it is with LGBTQ and so on. They're not acronyms at all. I digress. The thing which struck me about the explanation for these terms on the website is that they seem to include every single human being in the world, and I mean that quite literally. Lesbian, for instance, and I quote, "This term refers to a woman who is sexually and or emotionally attracted to other women. I've met very few women in my life who are not emotionally attracted to other women. This is a basis for female friendships, which tend to be deeper, richer, and more emotionally satisfying in general than those between men. Because, of course, these various identities are fluid, anybody can move from one to another with the greatest of ease. So we find that asexuals are those who do not experience or experience a low level of sexual desire. That means that when a woman has a baby or small children in the home and goes off the boil sexually and has more important things to do than screw her husband, she becomes an asexual, or ace for short. And again, no, I'm not making that up. They really are referred to as being ace. Demisexual? This is a term used to describe somebody who can only experience sexual attraction after an emotional bond has been formed. That would probably be an awful lot of women then. Even I am found there, you'll be astounded to hear, as a straight man who believes that all other categories that lists should enjoy legal and social equality. I am an ally, it seems. That's the A in that definition. I have to ask myself what the purpose might be of stringing together a load of letters in this way, which includes everybody in the world. Why would you go out of your way to invent a term like that described every single person you meet? I'm happy for everybody to do whatever they please sexually, as long as only consenting adults are involved, and I make no value judgments at all on such matters. I can't help wondering, though, what the reason is for rebranding old concepts like people who are unable or unwilling to limit themselves to one sexual partner, and then using a grand-sounding name like polyamorous to describe what they're up to.